Music and Madness would be rock and roll and comedy. So what do those have together? We're going to find out. Jack Willhite is with me, and Jack has a rock and roll comedy show. He's coming here to the Millhouse Theater. It's going to be February 14th. Going to be post Valentine's Day, and going to be a great show. And so, Jack, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. And that's you, Tom, right there?
That is me. I'm Tom.
Okay. I've been staring at you, wondering, thinking your shirt is way more flamboyant than my John Fogerty thing that I got going on here.
That all looks good. Thank you. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the show's going to be on Sunday the 15th, the day
Sunday
after
the
Valentine's Day.
yeah. Tell
Just
us,
FYI.
what are these people going to expect, and what are they? I guess what are they going to see? Give us a little. Tell us about your show.
Well, this is called the Rock and Roll Comedy Show. So the best way to describe it is it's like a cross between Weird Al and your favorite classic rock tribute band. I think if you're having a couple of cocktails, it'll probably make an even lot more sense when it's all said and done. So what I do is just I take classic rock artists that people have known over the years from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and turn some of those songs into parodies with light costuming. And it's pretty absurd and pretty silly and straight up and a lot of high energy. So it's a lot of fun.
And everybody loves to laugh, and everybody loves rock and roll. So it's going to be. It sounds like a great combination.
Hope so. Usually it works out pretty good.
Have you been to the Villages before?
I never have before. No.
Have you got any? Have you heard anything about the Villages? Have you got any preconceived notions about the Villages?
No preconceived notions. I know some other artists that have performed down there and said that they had a great time down there. And Kenda that books it, she and her husband and I have played other venues across the country. So I know that they Wand Enterprises has a very, very sound production reputation. So I'm looking forward to that being the same down here at the Old Mill Playhouse.
It's going to be great. The Villages has some rumors, I'll say, but you know what? I've lived here 7 years. None of them are true. We keep looking, but none of them are
Oh,
true.
really? No
Yeah.
ghosts or anything weird like that?
No ghosts, no nothing. It's all straight up. It's a great place to be. Absolutely a great place for you to come down and perform, and it's going to be fantastic. So, couple of questions for you.
Fire away.
If comedy had a backstage rider, what's on a real? Is it realistic or ridiculous?
You mean like, do we really have any choice? I mean, some
Yeah.
of the larger venues that I play, the theaters and stuff, are very nice. Some of the casinos, and they just kind of make a preemptive guess as to what we might like in the way of like, sodas and things like that. But as a rule, I mean, comedians don't really have a huge wish list of what they would want in a green room. I mean, sometimes we're surprised. I mean, I remember opening for John Lovitz one time, and they had a whole buffet spread out for him. So, he was like, "Come on, guys, help me eat this." I mean, it was really nice.
I'm
But
sure.
as far as backstage riders, we're just looking for a spot with a light bulb and maybe a chair to sit in before going on. So that can run the whole gamut from what looks like a fancy Las Vegas lounge in some of the casinos to a broom closet in some of the other places that we performed.
I guarantee you, Kenda will take good care of you.
Oh, looking forward to that.
Yeah, she'll make sure you have at least a ham sandwich or something. So, so
Okay.
when did you realize that this was? Well, first of all, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, 20 plus years.
Okay, and when did?
But not always like this show. I started out as a straight monologist, and that was going okay. But you find out that there's a lot of competition out there that you're up against out there, so you're kind of looking to narrow yourself down into a smaller box. And I just happened to have an idea one time that I'd have a little triplet of characters at the end of the show one time that I unfurled in Texas, and it got a really much different reaction. So that was kind of like a divining rod starting to follow that. And then ultimately, over the course of many, many years, it evolved into a completely musical show just because, I'm pretty much the only guy in the country that's doing a show exactly this way. So I'm in my own little box. If people love it or hate it, whatever the case might be, at least I'm standing on one lily pad.
Are you a comic first or a musician first?
Probably a comic first. Was a musician years ago in high school and college and stuff, and put that away. Was trying to get some gigs writing for TV and whatnot. And so thought of myself more as a writer more than anything else. But then the musical thing kind of came back in, and it was just vocal parodies at one point. And then I thought, why am I screwing around here? Why don't I just go ahead and bring one guitar in? Then that became two, then three, then four, then five. Sound, lights, more costumes, more crazy stuff. So it's been an evolution. And of course, the characters I've done over the years have changed greatly too, because a lot of them have kind of come and gone, faded out of existence and whatnot. So I try to keep things on kind of an 80-20 rule where, 80% of what I do, 80% of the people are going to recognize at any given time, whether that's AC/DC or Styx or Guns N' Roses or Ozzy. Just trying to keep it simple. No super exotic stuff that people might go, what the heck is that?
Now, I see you in costume and your website and stuff like that. Do you make your own stuff, or you?
I've had some people make it for me, and then there's some costume supply companies that.
Yeah, because it's pretty exotic stuff. From what I.
That's some of the custom stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of minimal stuff. There's only enough time in the art of quick change, which I try to do. It can't be a half hour kind of deal. You just have to make sure that you can get as close to maybe visually above the waist, looking like the individual you're trying to do as quickly as possible. So it's all done pretty much in front of the audience. There are a couple where I have to go back into a case to get more stuff, but it's pretty quick. And yeah, most of it's commercially. I'd say about 20% of it is probably some custom stuff I had done.
And it's all what you can fit on the airplane, correct?
It's all what I can fit in the Ford Explorer.
In the Ford Explorer. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, to fly would be crazy. If they lose your stuff, you're
Well,
toast.
that's true. That's true.
And you have to be able to go from point A to point B when it's snowing.
Yeah.
Four-wheel drive is great for that. Being stuck in Chicago, that's probably not a good thing at the airport.
So how much traveling do you do in a year's time?
Probably around 70,000 miles.
Wow. That's a lot. See, a lot of people don't, they see performers and they see them on stage and they think that, wow, the rest of their life must be just glorious. It's that hour and a half that's glorious. But the rest of it's work. And
Oh, absolutely. It's the inverted pyramid, or the pyramid is what they say. All the
yeah,
stuff that you do down here to take it all the way up to that luxury of being able to perform for the hour and a half at the top. Yeah, that's auto maintenance,
yeah.
dentist, paying taxes, driving, you name it. Taking care of the guitars.
And that's the dedication of an artist, though. That's the difference between that and the day job. There's a lot of people who wouldn't do that.
Well, what was it a friend of mine once said about that? He said the beauty of owning your own business is you get to pick exactly which 80 hours a week you want to work.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It kind
And
of works out that way.
and when you're mad at the employees, you just get to look in the mirror. So
That's right. Depending on what hat I'm wearing on what day, I'm roadie, tour manager, driver, performer.
what's your
I only have
favorite
myself.
what's your favorite type of venue to play in?
That runs the whole gamut because, now that I'm playing in theaters and performing arts centers, that doesn't mean that I don't play smaller venues. Now, when I came up, I was playing in a lot of roadhouses and bars and stuff like that. Those are kind of fun to cycle back through from time to time, and I still have a few of those on my roster that I will go back and play, where you might have 50 to 100 people in a really small stage environment, because that's a little different toolkit.
Yeah,
And
because if you got to get some people to laugh out of 150, a lot of laughter can come out of 50, 60, 75 people.
sure.
A room of
So
50, five is kind of quiet. So you have to make sure you're on your game. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes the little smaller roadhouse gigs, those are kind of fun. I don't
Yeah.
shun those at all. When you're in a theater, obviously, or a performing arts center, you've got a lot more space to work with on the stage, and that's a luxury. It's wonderful to be able to spread the gear out and move around, a whole lot. That's a lot of fun too. But I kind of enjoy the complexity of both. Those people that have kind of only worked in theaters and been A-listers and whatnot, you throw them into a rough biker crowd somewhere. If you don't have that tool in your toolbox from the early days, you might be a little lost. And that was kind of my formative years. So, it's kind of nice once in a while to dip down back into that just to go, oh, this was kind of fun.
So all of the characters that you play of all those bands, if you were to be the opening act for one of those venues, one of those bands, who would it be? Who's your favorite?
Oh, man. Some of them are gone. Some of them are still out there. I don't know. That would be a tough choice. I mean, pretty much everything that's in there, in addition to audience recognition about who these bands are and knowing some of the music out there. It's also a matter of just stuff that I like too. So I mean, Styx is great, AC/DC is great, but I mean that is a massive tour thing that probably I'm not
Yeah.
going to have the privilege of opening up
Yeah.
for, since I kind of do my own thing. But
Yeah.
any of those bands, to be up close to them, that would be great.
Have you met any of them? Any of them aware what you do?
I don't do, no, I've not met any of the ones that are currently in my current lineup of artists there. I mean, I did meet Alice Cooper a few years ago, but he's not in the show. And then from the comedy world, I mean, I've worked with John Lovitz. I've opened for Jeff Dunham, um, Bobcat Goldthwait, the Jackass Show. I've worked with some of those guys and opened for them. But again, that's leaning more towards the comedy side of things instead of the music thing.
You do cruise ships at all?
I do not.
Yeah, I hear that that's a long. I mean, there's a lot of entertainers who do, but you have to like
Yeah,
being away for a while.
yeah, it wouldn't be that problem for me. Unfortunately, just because of all the gear that I carry, I think getting out that on board and off the ship might really be a headache. So I've kind of stayed away from that. I mean, I think that work is great for everybody that's working it out there, and I think they paid pretty well for it. But I'm real happy out here on dry land, working these theaters and performing arts centers and stuff. I think that's equally as challenging.
Yeah, it's all challenging. It is. Ticket.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all
yeah,
work.
absolutely.
Yep. So if comedy disappeared, what's your backup plan?
Oh man. Well, it kind of did during COVID.
Yeah, it's true.
I was just going to say this is the first time I've Zoom called in like 5 years. I
Yeah.
mean, this is
Yeah.
this is like resurrecting the dead out of an old Universal horror picture, trying to get this Zoom thing to work on the computer.
Yeah, and I'd have loved to bring you on the show, but because of time constraints, and we wanted to
Sure.
we want to let the villagers find out a little bit about you before you get here.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
So
That'd be great. That's great. Yeah, I don't know if it during COVID that was kind of crazy. I mean, I think most artists before they really figured out how to Zoom and communicate collectively amongst one another online, I think a lot of people were going back to the roots and just creating new stuff and whatnot. So for me, it was, if it were to go away, I guess I would just still be building the parodies that I do in the hopes that maybe that turned around and went back the other way. Or I don't know. There was a time there a few years ago where I was part of a local band. I guess that could always work too. I don't know. I haven't really given that much thought since
and
once we
hopefully,
got through the COVID, once we got through the COVID
yeah,
thing and everything kind of broke open. It's been gangbusters since then.
hopefully you'll never have to worry about that. You'll
I would.
never have to answer that question.
I hope not.
So, what is the or how do you decide when a joke should? Do you tell jokes and that kind of stuff, or can you give us just a 10-second, 15-second on your guitar there, of what you'd actually be doing?
Well, as far as jokes go, no. I mean,
You don't,
it's
yeah,
humorous. Yeah, there's setups for the particular things that have some funny twists in them. These stories around these parodies and whatnot. And
so
but no, no
most of
jokey
it's
joke.
just parodies of the song.
Sure, it is, and there's
Yeah,
conversation between it as I'm setting up the next bit and describing what it's supposed to be
yeah.
and whatnot. One thing is, I think in the beginning of the show, I have a little thing where I talk about the Super Bowl show and how, for the past 4 or 5 years, talented artists in there, but how I'm just like, yeah, can we get back to the days where we've got some rock music in there? Remember the
Yeah.
days of Tom Petty and Springsteen and Prince and all that stuff? And there's one little bit in there where AC/DC is one of my favorites, where I basically do a little parody for AC/DC, which is, and just come out and do Angus and do some funny lyrical changes to one of their songs, and then Bon Jovi as well. That's kind of the twist of it, is like my dream of what it would be like to have a really cool halftime show back in the rock days.
Sounds good. I love parodies. That's one of my favorite things about music, as a matter of fact, is listening to some of the parody stuff. So, hour and a half show. How many different characters?
Probably 24 to 26 in any 90-minute period, usually.
That's a lot.
Oh, yeah, man. A lot. Always a lot. Yeah, 24 to 26 at any given time. So, yeah, no, it runs the whole gamut. Everything from Bon Jovi to Stevie Ray Vaughan to Prince to Styx to John Cougar Mellencamp to AC/DC to Guns N' Roses. It just goes on and on and on. And then there's constantly stuff that's being brought into the show that's newer stuff. And then, there's just has to be the decision of what's going to be that particular night, which particular bit I'm going to do. Usually I've got a routine to the point where I'm pretty confident that it's going to make sense as it moves along. But yeah, then occasionally I'll throw in the new one, give that a few test flies in the middle of the show in other venues. And then by the time it either lives or dies, it becomes part of the show or it's gone.
So writing music for you is rewriting somebody else's song into something that works into your act, which is probably just as hard as writing music.
Well, I mean, a lot of people think you're just putting the record player on and you're just kind of doing your thing. There's actually, believe it or not, there's a lot more to it
I'm
in
sure.
the background. First of all, you have to buy the music licensed to get the backing tracks. And then I have to lay that out in GarageBand, and it's drums and bass and sometimes rhythm or lead. I'm switching off so that I'm doing one or the other in that track. And then I do all the backing vocals in there too. And that just takes forever to crunch that down to get the, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever I'm doing. And then
after all that work, you get to find out if it actually works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, by the time I've gotten it all done, I'm pretty much certain that I'm going to take it out and fly it, and it probably will have some value. Hopefully, I've put enough goofy stuff in there that it'll have a funny aspect too. I mean, you can pretty quickly can tell if the audience really digs it. You can hear them laughing even over the music and stuff, and at the end of it all, and the road is littered with tons of parodies that just never could work.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. They're just ones that I thought, oh man, I know this is going to work. Boom. And it just wouldn't work.
What's the worst show that you can remember that ever happened in your career?
I was working up in Canada. This goes back like 20, 22 years. I was fresh on the road. I was just the middle act, the feature act. And I was working for a Canadian producer up there, and we were doing like 6 different shows together in the interior. I think we were in British Columbia, if I'm not mistaken. And the headliner got sick, and he couldn't do the rest of the show. Mind you, as a feature act, you're only doing somewhere between 25 and 35 minutes max, whereas a show is 90 minutes. So the booker just called me and just said, hey, no big deal. He said, I'll pay the headliner money. You just do the hour, and then you do a joke off at the end or whatever, and we'll just get you covered. Okay, nightmare. I only have 30 minutes of material. So we were playing this one particular bar up there. It was the first night that I was having to do it. I literally had emptied everything out of my case, stood on my head, done everything that I could. I covered the time, but by the end of the show, probably 60 people had completely left the room, except for one person. But in Canada, all you have to do is provide entertainment, and you get, and as part of your contingency for your liquor license. So the owner was delighted that people had hung around for as long as they did, because he could still sell alcohol for the rest of the night. But that's an experience to have the entire room walk out on you.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yep.
What's it feel like? How did you feel that moment?
Oh, I don't think there was a lampshade long enough back at the hotel room to handle what I thought I needed to do. But believe it or not, a couple more shows, man, furiously writing, sweating. By the time I got to the end of the week, I had an hour. It wasn't pretty, but I had it done, and I'd never done that before. So that was kind of like, well, okay, that's what that's like to create a headline set. I don't think it was of that quality, but it certainly, I covered the time. I mean, when you got to scramble.
Yeah, when your back's against the wall, your back's against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I had all my old notebooks out and everything and just tried to crunch it all down. That was probably the most earth-shattering experience ever. But fortunately, that happened, early in my career. So, I mean, it was just another learning curve in the whole grand scheme of things.
So what's the what's your dream? What's the best place that you could perform at that you haven't yet, if you had to pick?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there are a number of theaters across the country that are really great. I mean, one of the coolest venues in the country, although, I mean, you've got to be major A-list to play this place. Red Rocks out in Colorado is pretty cool out there. It would be really cool to be an opening act in that venue. I've seen shows there. That would be awesome. But the great thing is that when you start weaving into the theater performing arts center world, particularly the theaters, I get the luxury of working in a number of theaters that were built back in the 20s. They were vaudeville theaters back in the day, and they've been restored, and they are just so cool to be in. Backstage areas, and you just think of the number of people that have performed there. It's just really great. And I've done Vegas too, and been on some stages where some Sammy Davis Jr. has performed and whatnot at the Plaza and whatnot. Those are pretty cool. Those are great. But the theaters are cool too. I mean, they really have a lot of history to them, and that makes it really fun.
So when you see you travel 70,000 miles, how many shows then in a 12-month period?
Well, it's pretty much, every weekend, because it's I would say pretty much every week it's always Fridays and Saturdays if it's in the larger venues, and then sometimes there's some fill-in stuff taking place on the Wednesdays. I mean, for instance, in this case with the Old Mill, that's going to be on a Sunday, which is cool. So I'm a 7-day-a-week operation. I would say in a year, that's probably 200 shows.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Got to do what you got to do, man.
That's it. Well, hey, I sure appreciate you coming on here, taking the time out of your busy schedule. Is there anything that comes to your mind that you want to make sure these villagers know about you before you get here?
Just they can go check out the website, www.jackwillhite.com. There's a promo video reel there where they can kind of get a little idea about what I do and see some of the credits that I have as far as that's concerned. I think that's great. And then hopefully they can get it together and come on out. We have 2 shows going on the 15th. There's one at 3 and there's one at 6:30 at the Old Mill Playhouse. And you can buy your tickets through the Wand Enterprises page or through the Old Mill Playhouse there too,
right?
Which would be great. So, Tom, I appreciate you having me on, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody once we get into February down in sunny Florida. I just came back from South Dakota. It was like 12 degrees.
Yeah,
so.
You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's for sure.
Yeah, isn't that the story of my life? But I had to come to Florida in February. Hey, I'm excited, man.
That's good. So day after Valentine's Day, like I said, everybody have a nice Valentine's Day, and what a great way to spend Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening watching Jack's rock comedy show, parody. You heard a little bit about what he does. 24 different characters. I'm looking forward to seeing that. You probably could be a quick change artist if things go bad. Anybody who could change outfits 24 times in 90 minutes, that's an act in itself. So,
okay, well, practice is perfect, so we try.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and again, we'll see you on the 15th.
Definitely, Tom. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing everybody on February 15th at the Old Mill Playhouse.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right.
Take care, man.
We're going to be back, and Tom's got a few things he's going to take and let you know what's going on as far as local events. And then we're going to get to our musical guests performing here live on the stage on Monday Night Live, Music and Madness. Come on in, get your headphones on. No, we'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Welcome back to Music and Madness, Monday Night Live. And sitting with me is a familiar face around the villages. So a familiar face here on the Music and Madness podcast. Pull that right up to you. There you go. Speak into that.
I can scooch down a little too.
You can scooch down a little. You can relax.
Yeah.
It's Monday night.
Ugh.
So this is Ashley Wilcox, and today she brought her better half.
Hey.
Tim Wilcox. Tim,
No,
bring
Tim,
that up to you.
actually,
Exactly.
it's Tim
Wilcox.
Garland.
No, that's okay. That's what everybody calls me is Mr. Wilcox.
Mr. Wilcox.
Yeah. So,
Turn that around so it doesn't look like you're
there we go.
you got
How's
it
that?
upside down.
Is that better?
That's fine. The camera's right there.
all righty.
Camera's right
Hey,
there.
everybody. Good to see you.
So, Ashley, tell me about what you got going on.
So, about, I don't know, 6 months ago, well, I have a theater background. So, I've always, got ideas for shows of my own.
That is for sure.
I mean, and they usually hit me at like 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a great idea.
That's when all good ideas.
Usually
Come
after
to-
a
yeah.
few glasses of wine too, So
Yep.
anyway, I had come up with this idea at one point of kind of a yacht rock, but not really. So I kind of started building this idea about how I wanted to be able to do some different music that people don't hear as frequently, but they're still very popular songs, and how to kind of put that in a show format. And I had thought about this idea of midnight request line, where people call in and request these songs, and they explain why they're requesting them and who they're requesting them to.
Like we all did back in the day.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
and they don't you don't have that so much anymore. But this idea is really based off of like Casey Kasem and his weekly top 40 and Delilah. And so what we have done is we have come up with a list of songs and characters that call in and request these songs and have either silly stories that are attached to them. Some are sad, some are funny, some are just silly. But what we've also done is taken pieces of Florida and put them in the stories as well. So like we have one girl that calls in and she requests a song, but she works for Disney and he works for Universal. So
Conflict of interest right there. So
Yeah.
That's a love triangle.
yeah.
Are any of the calls that you get in ever real?
They're not real
Well,
necessarily.
Yeah.
yet. Let's say yet, because
Yeah.
we're in the early stages of how we're kind of going about this whole idea that she came up with. And originally that was the idea, because I don't know if for people that are Disney fans, when they had the Laugh Factory for Monsters, Inc.,
Yeah.
you could text in jokes. And the idea is that as we get a little bit more advanced with this and the repertoire expands, people can actually request as they go into the show. We want to get to the point where it can be a little bit more live interaction that way, where, Tom, you come to the show and
Yeah.
you're like, I want to dedicate a song to XYZ. I'd love to hear the song and here's why. If it's in the repertoire, then we can do that, and then we can put the text up on print, just so it's a live thing, or
Right.
or a live dedication or a voicemail. We've thought about that, like setting up like an 800 number where somebody could call in and make the request, and then we play it live that way. So early stages, we'll get there. But that would be really cool.
And we all remember those days. I mean, I can remember as a teenager, even that was still going on a little bit, and it's long gone, but people
Well-
certainly remember that.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of what is so funny, is because nowadays they don't have where people call in and make requests. And I can remember in high school, like sitting and listening to the requests or whatever, somebody calling in, I want to dedicate this to my boyfriend or my girlfriend. And we have had conversations with like our kids, explaining to them, where this is coming from. And they're clueless. They're like, oh, we don't, okay, whatever.
What do you mean?
Well, what is that?
Why would you do that? Wouldn't you just text them?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But you'd stay up, during the midnight request line and see if anybody said your name or
Yeah.
invited you to homecoming or whatever,
Exactly.
So
or some of your classmates or whatever. I can remember that.
yeah. So
Anxious to hear that.
and you could only hit the button on the record at the right time so that you could catch it at just the right time.
Yeah, if you wanted to call into those things, it'd be like, it'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rewind it back, if you wanted to.
So there's some definite nostalgia to it. But we also have moments of like Casey Kasem, which is funny because I listen to iHeartRadio, the Casey Kasem countdown still like pretty regularly. And the trivia and stuff that he would talk about on the radio, about the musicians and about the songs that, you don't hear that anymore on live radio either.
Right.
But there's a lot of history there that people don't realize, from those songs.
Well,
So,
and it's music's emotional.
yeah.
So that's the big thing about, oh, I remember that song. And now you start to remember where you heard it,
Yep.
and all kinds of things flow. Yeah, that's
You tie to the memories of the things that you remember from that time frame, and I think that's what clued us to this was, like I said, we initially thought about doing yacht rock, and it was kind of like, well, it's not that it's overdone, it's just there's a lot of that right now going on, so we were trying to figure out what could we do.
well, and a lot of the songs that you're talking about still is yacht rock.
Yeah,
a lot of those
absolutely.
Yes.
requests
But
and
it's
that stuff,
adult-
but you're tying something to it.
Yeah,
Right.
adult contemporary was kind of,
Yeah.
as we started researching some of the songs we were coming up with. And like for me, I love night songs with Delilah. I love that. I would set the timer on my alarm clock every night, the 59 minutes. It would never go past 59 minutes, but I would set and listen to that and fall asleep to it. And that was kind of, as we got into it, we're like, oh, that's a good song. And we didn't want it to just all be love songs because,
Right.
that'd be boring.
Well, like
So-
one of the songs that we do that you just you don't hear as often done live around here. Like we do "Tempted" by Squeeze, and the story is somebody calling in, and it's not about them being tempted by somebody else. It's about them being tempted by food because they're on a diet with their significant other and they've lost more weight than the other person. And so it's comedy too. There's silly moments like that are unique.
So the performance you're doing at the Millhouse Theater, what number performance is that? Because I see you've done some already.
Yeah, this is actually but this is really only our second
Second one.
time
It's like
Okay.
a big one, yeah.
in front. But creating this show, I had the people of the Villages just in mind because I know that they're familiar with the show that we're going for, the nostalgia, the radio, the call-ins, and we even have a caller that calls in from the Villages. So
It's funny you mentioned the radio. There are so many people when you mention the radio. What's that?
yeah,
What's that? It's hard to say that it's sad. I mean, because progress is progress, but it kind of is sad because, those are things that were so connected with all of us growing up. And
Sure.
even our parents, my parents anyway, that listened to stuff back in the 50s and that. And, it's just not the same. So that's kind of cool you're bringing that back.
even radio commercials, because I've been doing a lot more research just into radio, to
Right.
be able to fit certain things into this show. Just the idea of what radio commercials used to be and then what they turned into and the jingles and stuff like that. And then how we don't even have that anymore the way that we used to. But, they used to have big names like Roy Orbison sing a song for Coke, and stuff like
Right.
that. So, it's just interesting because there's a lot of history there that's still to be explored.
And earlier than that, they still advertise cigarettes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, and it's kind of fun. I mean, with the idea of the radio program, it just now occurred to me that even with the latest season of Stranger Things and the Squawk Radio or whatever it is, you understand it a little bit more, because that is set place in the 80s, and she's got this little radio show that she does. Even if a younger person came to our show, or kids or grandkids of people from the Villages, they're going to understand it because there is that correlation and that kind of resurgence of some of that media. I would love to see more of it happen, but we'll see what transpires if that kicks any of that back out.
Yeah. So it is a radio show, but it's not a radio show. So
It's a show about a radio show.
yes, and as people call in and do these characters, we dress up and pretend we're those characters, and we have silly moments on stage. And since we're married, we play off of each other pretty well.
That was another thing about radio is the DJs and the bits and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people don't have any clue what that was.
Right.
Because even if they do listen to a radio station today, there's not near as much as that unless you listen to, some podcasts and different things.
Yeah. Yeah, but like Rick D's,
Yeah.
Rick D's in the weekly top 40,
Yeah.
Everybody in the Villages, I guarantee you, remembers the name of the radio station that they used to listen to.
Oh,
Mine,
yeah,
mine
sure.
was WLAV in Grand Rapids.
We listen to Bob and Tom.
Bob and Tom, of course, Bob and Tom.
WFPQ, Q95.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Ashley, we know a little bit about your background. You sing with another band that's
Yes.
here in the Villages, but we don't know nothing about Tim.
Sometimes that's a good
Is
thing.
that a good thing?
It's the less you know, the better.
That's
No,
not true.
No, I'm just teasing. No, so, Ash and I met, we've been married
We've been 20 years.
20 years now. Been together 21. But no, we met doing Jesus Christ Superstar. She was Mary Magdalene and I was Judas, so it was a little bit of spin on things. But no, we had a wedding band together back home in Indianapolis for 10 years or so. Top wedding band in Indy for 6 of those 10. Again, her brain just is always spinning. Like new ideas, new ways of doing
I
things.
actually came up with an idea on the way here that we were talking about.
She's already got another thing going. But for me, music's more of a hobby than it is a profession. I mean, she studied professionally. She studied opera. She went to New York for theater. For me, it was just something to get into. Almost as a fluke, I got into choir as a kid. And I enjoyed it. I was told I was pretty decent at it, so I kept doing it through high school. And then after that, I, left it to the side. What kind of got me back into theater was I was a huge Rocky Horror fan, so I used to go every weekend.
Throwing toast. And
There we
water.
go. Right,
Yeah.
that was my thing.
I've seen that just a few times.
Being as inappropriate as I could be
Yeah.
at the time, when you're that young.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of brought me back to performing was a local theater that we had, a community theater, was doing Rocky Horror. And it was the first time anybody had done it like live on stage, not the movie version, but the actual stage version in forever in Indianapolis. And it went over very well. And they asked me to come back for a couple of shows. And that's how I ended up doing Superstar. So, and then from there, we've been inseparable since, really.
Are you a full-time musician too? Then?
No. I sell timeshare, so I'll just get that out of the way now. So don't hate me, anybody. But no, it's when we moved down here, I got into sales. Been doing that ever since. And, we still had the band in Indianapolis, so we were flying back and forth for the first 2 years.
2 years
we were here.
every weekend, flying back and forth.
Yeah, so we'd leave on a Friday night. We'd go to the airport, fly in, sometimes Saturday morning, get to the show Saturday evening and do the show. And then we'd be at the airport at 3 a.m. on Sunday to catch the first flight back for the boys.
That is artistic dedication, because that probably didn't pencil very well.
It was not easy, that's for sure.
I'm good with not flying from here on out.
It was rough, but no, it was fun. And, and then I just kind of stepped away. And, with her getting into Groove Slayers was kind of a funny story in itself, because Mike, the trombone player, when they first were putting that band together, they were looking for a male singer. And I had mentioned, I threw my name in the hat. I'm like, hey, I'd be interested in this. And he started apparently going through some of our page. And he was like, I see that your wife's singing. Would she be interested in well? And I was like, well, no, she's kind of getting into theater and doing more of that. So it would just be me. And then they ended up going a different route. Their guitar player ended up singing. Mike took over vocals. And then
3 years later.
2 or 3 years later, they needed a female singer to fill in. And
they made a great choice.
Yeah, and I'm like,
it came full circle.
I'm like, it's supposed to be my gig. But no, it's worked out great because, they're great guys. They all gel really well together. And
You hang with them a lot.
And
too,
I hang with them a lot. So, I think I'm kind of your roadie / groupie.
There you go.
For Groove Slayers and hope, I'm always there anyway. Photographer, whatever they need, I'm there to help. But no, and then we just kind of. She had these ideas, and we were like, how can I squeeze it into my schedule? And we've been able to so far. And
His favorite words are when I say, I've been thinking.
Yeah. As soon as I know that, I know I've got
I've been
my work
thinking.
cut out for me. So I've been thinking. Oh, here we go.
Well, and then you got Sebastian, for people who don't know.
That's
Sebastian,
right.
the Elvis
Yeah.
impersonator.
Mm-hmm.
Also.
Yeah.
That is
and
our son.
That's her son.
The Florida
Yes.
Elvis.
That is our son. Yep.
Florida Elvis.
He's 6'4", but
6'6" if you count the pompadour.
but he was a little baby.
And
With a giant head.
he's going to be a part of this next show, right?
He's gonna make a surprise
Yeah.
appearance.
Yeah, well, people
I see
kept
that.
asking us. They're like,
Yeah.
are you going to get Sebastian involved in any way, shape, or form? And we couldn't figure out how to do it. We talked about DJs like Rick Dees and things like that. Well, I grew up loving 50s music anyway, so I won't say that he got that from me because we didn't really play it around him. It just kind of happened. But for me, I loved those old 50s disc jockeys. Hey, from the racks and stacks, it's the best on wax. Things like that.
Yeah. Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack, yeah.
Ow, So we were trying to figure out how we could incorporate it in. And, like I said, her wheels are always turning. So she came up with a couple cool ideas and ran them by Sebastian. He was like, yeah, let's do it. So he's going to make his guest appearance on a few, and we'll have a good time.
And it's with a full band. band, am I correct?
It is with a full band.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when we performed today, we were using tracks because we couldn't get everybody here coordinated
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff in the time. But yes, it is a full band. So and several members of the Groove Slayers. Scott is plays saxophone. He's in the show. Robert, who plays keys. Stevie, who subs in on drums with us. He's on drums. And then we have Zach Van Meter, who plays with Stereo FM and Fancy Reagan and a lot of groups around there. Which he's not too far from here. He also plays guitar with us. And Carter Heitkamp, he is going to be playing bass on this show, and he currently plays with Women of Rock from the Las Vegas show, I believe. So he tours with them. But
Okay, how do you schedule anything with those people?
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's like, here's what we're doing. Know your stuff. We've got this much time to put it together and go.
Like, who can get together on any of these specific dates? And
Yeah.
then we try to figure it out. Like,
Especially during the holidays was a challenge, but
and even the last rehearsal, we weren't there.
Yeah.
It was just a band rehearsal.
yeah,
So.
so we can come in and do our thing. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of technical stuff with this one that we've been trying to put together because of the voiceovers, and we're hoping to have projections where you'll actually see a cartoon like DJ, kind of like who's Max,
Like Max Headroom?
Yeah, Max. You know what I mean, along those
Yeah.
lines. So that's what we're going towards eventually.
Yeah.
But
So just like every other artist and that kind of stuff, you're doing hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of work for a 90-minute show.
Yep.
Which,
Pretty much.
yeah,
That's true.
Which is, I mean, that is the dedication of an artist.
that's the work.
Yeah, that is the work. That is the work.
Yeah.
And you do it out of the love of it.
Right.
Because, not everybody's driving flying Learjets from playing music in the villages. But
Right.
you do it because you love
Sure.
music and you love to entertain people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what it all boils down to, is because it's easy, when we think tribute shows, because that's kind of how this initially started.
Yeah.
Was there's all these different tribute
A
bands
lot
out
of
there,
them. Yeah.
and we wrestled with the idea of how we were going to do it, and that's kind of how that we were like, well, how can we make it different? And that's kind of how we came up with that. And really, it's just like you said, it's that dedication to really music of all genres, and that's kind of what we try to do in the show, without doing the same songs that people hear on a regular basis. Not that there's anything wrong with Don't Stop Believin'. Not that there's anything
Right.
wrong with Sweet
Exactly.
Caroline. But
Exactly.
you can go to any square on any weekend and hear those songs. So we wanted to
Exactly.
separate it and make it a little bit different, which is why we picked some of the songs that we did.
Well, and I like to say different songs, different memories,
For sure. Absolutely.
So that's, but I think also in creating something like this as an artist, you put that time and effort, energy into it because that's like the piece of you that's out there,
Right.
that's something you created.
Yeah, it's not for the money.
No.
It is it is for your love of the art and,
Right.
and your craft and everything else.
Yeah.
What I like about this whole thing that we've gotten into, meeting lots of musicians, is the ambition that these musicians have to do more than just what they're doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, now they're doing this. Hey, now they're doing that. And you're just kind of all over the place, just purely out of your love for this.
Right.
Because, you're just adding more hours to your workload. It's not getting easier.
Well, that's what I told you I have a theater background, and I haven't really done a whole lot of theater lately.
Yeah, Tim, she had a new idea on the way here.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'll be hearing about it on the way home, I'm sure.
But so Christmas is always busy season for a musician, a working
Yes.
musician. And right around Thanksgiving, I got a call from a theater that I had worked at several years ago. And the person who was playing their lead character, Mrs. Claus, she was not feeling well, and they weren't sure she was going to be ready for opening night, which was in 3 days. And so they asked if they could have me come in and learn the entire show in 3 days and then keep me on call
Just in case.
And I did. And so I learned
Good
the
for
show
you.
in 3 days, and I did one performance just to show that I was ready and could do it. And then I just waited to see if they'd call me, and they didn't call me because I didn't want them to. Honestly, I wanted her to have her her contract, her moment. Yeah, she did. Yes,
time. Yeah.
So I was happy for her, but that. That's the other piece of it too, is sometimes you put that much effort and energy into it and then nothing really comes of it,
or the weather,
yeah,
or whatever
Right.
happens. But yeah, again, it's those hours are free.
yeah.
You don't get paid anything for those hours that you
Yep.
put in. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was, I mean, it was a nice little Christmas bonus that I got, but it was a lot of hard work. I was drained.
Yeah. What if you do all that rehearsal and you didn't get to do
Yeah.
anything? That's like, wow.
I learned a tap number and everything.
Wow.
And it wasn't in her backyard. I mean, it was a 2-hour drive to get there and back for 3 days of rehearsals and have everything ready to go.
So,
that is the dedication. And I hope everybody appreciates it that sees it, because we see a lot of it coming in and out of here. Just people take the time out of their schedule to come here.
Sure.
We don't pay. So no, they come on here for free, but we hopefully we're providing a mutual thing.
Yes, we appreciate that.
We get some time to meet some great musicians, and you guys get some exposure, and hopefully sell tickets, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But again, the hours and hours and hours. The more I am involved in this, the more I learn how much people really lay themselves out there for the art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And quick list: who are some of the artists?
So we've got some Linda Ronstadt, Air Supply, Glenn Campbell,
Kenny and Dolly. Billy Vera and the Beaters.
Yep.
Let's see.
And then we've even got like from Greece.
That's right. Yeah, we do throw in the one Grease song at the end. We do. You're the one that I want.
I'm trying to think what else. Well, Squeeze, Spiral Staircase.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That's right. I don't sing that one.
Sheena Easton.
And I think that just kind of gives you an idea of how
broad yeah.
it is, right? And it all kind of fits still in that 70s, 80s, FM radio idea. So, I mean, again, if it was
Greg Kihn Band.
The Greg Kihn, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and then obviously some Elvis, since we're bringing Sebastian in for the show. But I think that's been the fun part for me, is revisiting a lot of songs that, maybe I forgot about, or that, like she said, there's just certain memories that tap into certain things. And she talks about, Dick Clark and
Joe Cocker is another one.
Joe Cocker.
Yeah.
And those are all the things you mentioned. Those are all artists that we hear very little of on the normal platforms that we listen to here.
Right.
But when you hear those songs, you're like,
I forgot about that one.
Totally.
God, that was a great song.
Yeah.
It's that type of idea, that nostalgia of it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, before the internet goes back out, we better get you up on stage and give the viewers just a little bit of an idea of what you're going to be doing. So, Tom, can you hear me back there?
Yes, I can.
All right. Do you want to take in? We'll
go to commercial, and then we'll see if we can transition.
We'll go to commercial right now, and we're going to see them on stage when you come back.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
You're going to see Tom running 90 miles an hour. We are ready now, Ash.
Let's do it.
Oh, hi. This is Carol from The Villages. I'd like to request Ain't No Mountain High Enough, and I want to dedicate it to my best friend, Janet. Now, the reason I picked this song is because Janet will drop everything for me. Flat tire, she's there. Bad date, oh, she's got wine chilling. Emotional emergency because someone took my favorite seat at bingo? Well, she's already on the golf cart. No mountain, no valley, no traffic circle in this town is too much for her. So, Janet, this one's for you. Thanks for always answering the phone, even when I start the conversation with, I just need 5 minutes, and we hang up an hour later.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe.
Remember the day I set you free? I told you you could always count on me, darling. From that day on, I made a vow I'll be there when you want me, some way, somehow.
'Cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, baby.
Oh no, darling.
No wind, no winter's cold can't stop me, baby.
No, no, baby.
'Cause you are
If you're ever in trouble, I'll be there on the double. Just send for me, oh baby. Ha!
my love is alive deep down in my heart, although we are miles apart.
If you ever need
A helping hand, I'll be there on the double just as fast as I can. Don't you know that there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. Don't you know that there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough, ain't no mountain high enough.
And again, appreciate you tuning in and look forward to seeing your show. And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
We
All right.
appreciate being on here. Thank you again.
Thanks again for coming. All right, Monday Night Live, and we're done before any more technical difficulties happen. Thanks. Good night.